When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite, obey your thirst.
Welcome to the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. It is episode 122, and I am Stephen Rothberg. I am the founder of College Recruiter Job Search Site, joined today, if I can say that properly, as almost always, by my illustrious co-host, Peter Zollman of the N Group. Peter, hello.
Good morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. Jennifer is in London.
And you're in a different place, Peter. I can tell from your background.
I'm always in a different place, right? You told me about people saying he's different. Well,
yes.
I'm in Brooklyn, where we celebrated last week the birth of our first granddaughter, fourth grandkid, and my wife is helping extensively, and I'm sort of in the background.
And it's amazing that you've got a few grandchildren and you're only 31 years of age. That's amazing.
You know what? It's a wonderful thing, Stephen. And one day I hope you and Jennifer get to experience grandkids, because they're far better than having your own kids.
Separately, to be clear, for the listeners who don't know, we're married, but not to the same spouses.
And I used to say, when people would say congratulations on your grandkid, I'd say I had nothing to do with it, until one day, very quickly, I realized, of course I did. Anyway, we have Jennifer Johansson with us, or Jennifer Johansson, if you prefer. She is founder and CEO of Placed. First thing she's going to do, welcome. She's going to tell us in 30 seconds or less about Placed, and then we'll get to it, talking about disposition data.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me today. So Placed, very short, we are a talent attraction platform. We're based here in the UK, operate from London, but we're also live in US and Germany. We help our customers, the likes of Lidl, GoDaddy, Royal Mail, to find suitable and relevant candidates, attract candidates, doing that at scale and all performance-based as well.
Performance-based is always a good thing, which leads us to disposition data. First, let's define it, and then we'll talk about how Indeed is trying to vacuum it all up and all of those things. What's disposition data?
Disposition data, I guess it's a record of data of what's actually happening to the candidates in the hiring process. I think it's also the most absent data point and a really important one for job platforms.
So the disposition data in the job board world is spotty, right? Some of our customers give it to us eagerly, because they know that if we get the data, then we can better understand what candidates we're sending to them are likely to apply. We can send more of those, waste less of their money, that type of thing. The disposition data that you're focused on at Placed, is that like click to apply? So you just know which of your candidates are applying? Are you taking it further than that? Maybe who's being moved forward to the interview process, or even to hire?
I think we very much refer to disposition data a little bit down funnel. So the metrics that we don't necessarily track on our side. So data points that we would need to get, as you say, from the client or from the ATS providers or other ways.
So is it just to the apply, or are you also getting interview, hire, that kind of data from a lot of customers?
I would say, more like down funnel. So like to your interviews, hires, rejection reasons would be amazing. That's kind of like when we refer to disposition data. We obviously, on our side, we can track from a view to a start apply to completed application, disposition data in some form, but not necessarily what we refer to. I think it's the down funnel that is not as easy to get hold of as a job platform.
Indeed is trying to force employers to give them disposition data, getting some pushback about it. How does that work with your employers and their candidates? And how do you see yourself competing with Indeed on that score?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting one. I think it's fairly good what Indeed is doing. It's probably something that's been missing for a little while. And obviously a big player like that can go and lead with that. A few years ago, when we were very focused on having our employers using our portal to chat and even like schedule interviews via our platform with the candidates, we were pushing disposition data a lot. I think that the truth is, I think even within organizations and especially like big employers, they don't necessarily have it. There's a lot of ATSs that are not necessarily synced up with payroll systems. So like you don't even have to mark a hire. So it's quite difficult to even get it from the employers themselves, which is why we now looking at, okay, if it isn't the exact disposition data, what's the, not necessarily even the next best, but what is a really good alternative, potentially even better. And that's kind of coming into predicting hires and looking at what the outcome could be.
Jennifer, you mentioned right at the beginning that Placed is 100% performance based.
Yeah.
So cost per click, cost per application,
Yeah.
I would think. And you also talked about at scale.
Yeah.
I recall from when you and I first met like 4-ish years ago that Placed was very much focused on frontline workers.
Yeah.
Is that still the case? And if it is your audience somehow different than, I don't know, a job board that focuses on accountants in terms of the importance of getting the disposition data and even how you can get it?
So we're sector agnostic. We do all type of roles. We do play a big role in that sort of like volume space. And that's usually how we start working with companies. So retailers, so hospitality brand, logistics, for example. But we actually do all roles. So we do their frontline workers, but we also do their accountants, their head office staff, professional technical roles as well. I think obviously like the frontline workers, more transient, higher volumes. And as I referred to, even employers do even have that disposition data. Do they mark everyone as a hire within the ATS? I think that's more common, obviously, at volume with frontline workers. But I think with our clients today, it's a bit of a mix with both the professional.
Hello, I'm Ruth Thomas, host of Comp and Coffee, where we break down what's next in the world of compensation management. From pay transparency to performance alignment, we explore how businesses are rethinking compensation to drive impact, equity, and growth. So if you're shaping the future of pay at your organization, grab a cup and tune in. Listen on the Work Defined Podcast Network.
And then do you think it's different for job boards that are focused on, say, high volume frontline workers in terms of getting the disposition, the importance of that, versus like that other customer group that you have that are hiring accountants? Do you see a difference in being able to get it and the importance of having it?
Yeah, I mean, if you got hiring managers who are deskless, right? They're running a warehouse or running a store, they might be less likely to actually fill that in or have access to it, or even like working with a platform on giving that away compared to a recruitment team who's kind of office based. But we're not feeling a big difference between clients. But I can imagine that can be something potentially within some organizations.
Now, I've seen cases of companies that not only track hires from various job boards or recruitment marketplaces through to the hire, but also even check on 6 months and 1 year later and performance and so forth. Obviously, those are pretty sophisticated systems, and they can judge whether company X, job board X did better for them than job board Y. But that's a long way out for most companies. Do you think that realistically tracking disposition data is helpful to the companies and to the job board, or just to the job boards?
No, I mean, I think it's really important and helpful for the employers as well, right? Because they are the ones who's going to benefit. If job platforms can start optimize on the back of delivery and successful outcomes, that's obviously helpful. I think, however, when it comes to disposition data, there is, in the hiring process, there's so much is out of our control. So a candidates who might look like a great candidate. This candidate's very likely to be hired, could have met with a poor hiring manager, maybe someone who had a cold that day, he wasn't as engaged. Like, there's so much that's happening in the hiring process that is kind of random, right? So I think we now comparing our customers, the employers' data sets of disposition data with what we think is a predicted hire, and that sometimes looks quite different. And it's hard to judge that. Is that because we haven't necessarily got an algorithm right, or is that actually because the hiring manager was sick that day and there was a random thing sort of happening throughout the interview and in the process?
I wanted to touch on geography.
Yeah.
So you started in the UK, growing rapidly in Germany and the US. I have a suspicion there'll be other markets down the line. Are you seeing a difference in those three different countries in terms of being able to get the disposition data and the importance of that in terms of like your relationship with the employers, being able to go to the employers and show you're a very cost-effective solution, right? It's kind of it's part of your sales process, your renewal process. Are you seeing differences between US, Germany, UK?
Yeah, we do. We feel like it's easier in the US. We feel like clients are more inclined to actually give out the data. Obviously, there's no GDPR restrictions. So sort of like sharing candidate information, they're more relaxed about it. I think here in the UK, and whilst we can do it, because obviously we own the candidate data before we send that application, that candidate over to the employer, there is still quite a bit of restrictions, especially at that sort of like enterprise level, going through procurement and but yeah. So in short, yeah, I think it's easier in the US than it is here in the UK.
Imagine that, something being easier in the US. We've got time for one more question, and I'm going to take it. But
Go for it.
Jennifer, you'll like this. Give us this 45-second version of Placed. Is it how many employees, how many offices, funding, backing, when was it founded, by whom? Well, we know the answer to that, et cetera.
Passwords, banking information, the street you grew up on, your favorite color.
All of it, all of it. We are a team of about 20 employees. We're based here in London. That's our only office at the moment. We do have remote teams, tech teams, in two remote locations as well. We see backs from relatively early days. So taking in funding, we launched back in 2016. So it's been a few years now. Obviously, like, product has evolved a lot. Steven mentioned we've gone into new markets, which has been really, really exciting. Always been like very focused on the candidate side and the sort of like matching element for job seekers and getting relevant opportunities in front of candidates. It's been a really interesting journey.
Well, we told you this would go very quickly, and lo
It
and
did.
behold, it has. And sometimes it works that way. Sometimes they drag on forever. But in this case, we're wrapping up. Steven?
No, this is great, Jennifer. And definitely, just one comment is for the job boards that are not collecting disposition data, or maybe just for a few customers, I suspect, Jennifer, you would agree with me. I think it gives us a massive opportunity, right? To just, without that, we're flying blind. We don't really know if the candidates that we're delivering to our customers are adding value. With the disposition data, and the more you get, the better it is, the more we know what value we're delivering. It even just helps us say, you know what, we're not good for that employer. We shouldn't waste time on them. We should focus on the employers that we are good with and the sectors that we're good with. So I think for us, it leads our business, and it provides a massive opportunity for selling to employers. We know we're good at that, and upselling existing clients. So I think there are definitely job boards that I've talked to that are sort of resistant about collecting it because it's difficult, it's expensive, but I think it's so worth it.
I know we're up for time and we didn't really get into that. I think, however, it is really difficult. There are other ways of doing it. There is so many like data points in the data that we collect, right? Job data, candidate data, behavioral candidate data, contextual data. Using those data points to predict hires can actually be as powerful as getting disposition data, if that is very difficult to do. So that's something we're exploring and kind of building out more and more at Place at the moment.
And that is the perfect way to wrap. That was
Thank
awesome.
you very much.
Lovely to see you, both. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks. Take care, Jennifer.
Cheers, Jennifer.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.